Hello, boys and girls. I've got our last Helen Lesser book for this week. This one is called The Loch Mess Monster. I wonder if any of you ever have a mess in your house. This book is also illustrated by Lynn Munsinger, just like the other two books we've read this week with Helen Lester. So let's find out about the Loch Mess Monster. And here's our title page. And the look on the little person's face there looks a little mischievous, like they're up to no good. So I'm kind of curious if they make messes on purpose. Let's find out. All right, before we get into this book, Helen Lester does have in here a glossary of Scottish terms that we're going to hear in this book. So let me go through these because this is going to help us with our understanding of the story. So the first word is the word loch, and that is just another name for a lake. Wee laddie, that just means a little boy. Skirps are drips. Puggy knit is peanut. Hummy dotties is mittens. Grotty is dirty. Tatties are potatoes. Heelan coo is a Highland cow. And Peely Wally is sick. So let's find out. In faraway Scotland, there was a famous lake called Loch Ness. Then legend had it that deep in this lake lived a monster. No one had ever seen it. But guess what? The legend was false. In truth, way, way down at the bottom of Loch Ness, there lived not one, but three monsters. There was Nessie, her husband Fergus, and their wee laddie, Angus. From the time he was a baby, Angus's parents had taught him the 5 basic monster rules. Rule number 5, never behave in a monstrous manner. Rule number 4, never eat with your thumbs. Rule number 3, always say excuse me when you cough, sneeze, or burp. Rule number 2, always pick up after yourself. And number 1, never, ever, ever go up to the surface of the loch or the lake. So Angus was well behaved, ate with a spoon and said excuse me when he coughed, sneezed, and burped. But as he grew bigger, so did his messes. Mother Nessie skidded across the floor on Angus's slimy lockweed collection and crashed into Father Fergus. Father Fergus tripped over Angus's fishy dolls and landed in the porridge. Angus loved the action. His parents did not. Have you noticed that our laddie leaves skirps all over the dishes? They asked. And Puggy knit shells on the floor. And that his hummy dotties are hopelessly mixed up. And that we're surrounded by grotty laundry? What had happened to their tidy home? Angus had happened. It was time to enforce basic monster rule number 2. Always pick up after yourself. So Angus's parents told him that while they loved him very much until he cleaned up after himself, he would have to stay in his room so that his stuff would stop spreading. Meanwhile, they would deliver his daily meal of milk and tatties in a can, so Angus went off to his room. And the days that followed, he didn't feel lonesome, for he had so much interesting stuff. Every day he would play with his toys, tossing each one on the floor when he had finished. Before long, the floor was full. So Angus tossed his used items onto his bed. And a monstrously messy mountain began to grow. Books and toys, rock collection, slimy lockweed, ew, Fishy dolls, teddy cans, hummy dotties too. Grotty laundry, puggy knits, spoon and scroopy cup. Messy mountain moving higher. Up, up, up. Take a look at that mess on his bed. I don't even know how he could go to sleep at night. It's a big mess. At night, as was his habit, Angus would check to be sure there were no monsters under his bed. Then he would strap on his mountain gear. Wait a minute, mountain gear? And make the long climb to his lumpy sleeping perch. He has to climb the mountain to go to bed. Each night, this climb took a little longer because each day he had added books and toys, rock collections, slimy lockweed, ew, fishy dolls, tatty cans, hummy dotties too, grotty laundry, puggy knits, spoon and scroopy cup, messy mountain moving higher, up, up, up. Can you imagine sleeping on that pile? Not only was the climb a long way up, on the nights when Angus fell out of the bed, it was a long way. Now, Angus was beginning to miss his parents. He was uncomfortable on his lumpy bed and dreadfully hot as he neared the sun to the surface of the loch. Surface of the loch? Angus had forgotten basic monster rule number 1. Never, ever go to the surface of the loch. But here he was, Angus, rising. Meanwhile, 3 friends gathered on the shores of Loch Ness. A duck, a goat, and a Hieland cow looked out over the water as they had every morning for years, waiting patiently for the Loch Ness monster to appear. Take a look what you can see back here. At last, on this particular morning, they saw a wee ripple way out on the loch. Could it possibly be? They focused their camera, binoculars, and telescope, and what they saw was sloppy Angus. Just awakening and rising on his bed, or what once had been his bed. "What a mess!" exclaimed the 3 observers. The trio sadly shook their heads. "It's nae the Loch Ness monster, 'tis the Loch Mess monster." And what did Angus see on the shore? What he saw made him feel absolutely peely-wally. Monstrous land monsters! The little one had enormous feet that could probably stomp you flat in a second. The middle one had a hairy chin, fierce spears on its noggin, and big googly eyes. And the big one must have been 500 feet tall, with a long green snout. It made the most horrible sound. Moo, moo, moo. Time to move. Suddenly, sloppy Angus wanted to clean up. He gathered up as much stuff in his arms as he could hold and climbed down, 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 down the bottom of this mountain. Let's see. Slimy lockweed on the shelf, puggy knit shells in the laundry basket, books and toys in the garbage, grotty laundry in the fish tank. No, wait. That wasn't right. Slimy lockweed in the fish tank, grotty laundry in the basket, puggy knit shells in the garbage, books and toys on the shelves. Now Angus remembered. And up he went for another load, and up and down and up and down, load after load, until at last all of his stuff had found a place. Books and toys, rock collection, slimy lockweed, ew, fishy dolls, tatty cans, hummy dotties too, grotty laundry, puggy knits, spoon and scroopy cup. Messy mountains is no more. Angus cleaned it up. Angus was thrilled to see his parents. As he passed them, he called cheerfully, "I'm off to wash my dishes and recycle my tatties in the cans." His mother and father were concerned. "Are you Peely Wally, laddie?" But Angus was not Peely Wally. He was just glad to be plain Angus instead of sloppy Angus. That night he had a wonderful dinner with his parents and land monster-free dreams on his smooth, cool bed. Epilogue. This is a little side note at the end. But Angus didn't want his parents to think he was perfect. So once in a while, he acted a little bit monstrous and left a wee mess. I hope you enjoyed this book. Helen Lester has some great messages in her story. So I hope today that you were able to find a lesson that you could learn from this story. I'm hoping none of you have a bed mountain pile that you're sleeping on at night, and that you can have great land monster free dreams on your flat beds. Have a great day. Bye, boys and girls.